Welcome. I'm Sherry Methvin, a realtor with Modern Abode Realty serving Edmond, Oklahoma and the greater Oklahoma City area. In this series, we're exploring the essential aspects of the home buying journey, offering practical advice to help you make informed and confident decisions. Buying a home is one of the most significant investments you'll make, and my goal is to ensure that the process feels both manageable and rewarding. If you watched my last video, this is part 2 of making a winning offer on your next home. Let's get started. Last time we talked a little bit about additional considerations outside of the home that you might want to take into account when you're making an offer on a home. And today we're going to talk about the items on a contract that are negotiable. One of the first negotiable items that we talk about is price. Price is quite variable. Some things are priced too high, some things are priced too low. And so in order to try to figure that out, we do what's called comparables. I've talked about them before, but we'll use those. We'll find homes that are similar size, similar age, and similar location as the home that you're looking at. And mostly look at things that are on the market, things that are under contract, and things that are closed. Probably the most telling is, and that we have the most information, is about those homes that are closed. We'll look at the condition of the home that you're looking at and compare that to the condition of the homes that have sold in the past. And then based on that information, come up with a good price for your house. You can always talk to your agent, ask their opinion. If you have more questions, do more research. Another negotiable item on a contract is the closing date. You always have to write a closing date on the contract, so you have to come up with a date when you're making an offer. Things to consider include how long it takes, which in Oklahoma, it typically takes for a closing from the time you go under contract to the time you sign the paperwork, takes about 30 to 45 days. And there's a lot of factors in that. How long will it take the lender to close? How long will it take the title work to get done? And how long will it take to do the inspections and the repairs on those inspections? All of those factor into that. But usually I try to time it out. Usually about 30 days is what I think. Now, if you have certain time frames in mind, like you have to be in a house in 3 weeks, we have to try to figure out how we're going to work through that. If you have cash, you can often close faster. You may have some other factors, like you have to get out of the lease and you have to push it out a little further. Also, another factor to consider is what dates are you available? Are you going to be in town on the day that we're planning on closing? Just check your calendar. Also, another thing about closing dates is if you remain flexible, that oftentimes is a really good negotiating point for the seller. Sometimes they can't get out right away. Sometimes they need to get out right away. And so if you remain flexible, that could be a good negotiating point for the seller. Another negotiable item on the contract is earnest money. So what is earnest money? Earnest money is a deposit that you place on a home to show the seller that you're serious about purchasing their house. And the seller, in turn, will take their house off the market to show that they're serious about selling their house. How much is earnest money? Earnest money typically these days is about 1%. It can be more or it can be less. We'll talk more in detail about earnest money coming up in the next video. There is a lot of aspects to it, and I want you to be able to understand them all. Another negotiable item on the contract is often a home warranty. You can ask the seller to purchase a home warranty for you, and the home warranty will cover things like dishwashers, stoves, the heat and air, the water heater, some of the appliances around the home. Things that the home warranty doesn't cover are like roofs and foundations, things like that. I always think it's a good idea, especially if your house is 10 years old or older, to ask the seller to purchase a home warranty, because inevitably something in the first year of owning a home goes wrong. And that home warranty can help alleviate some of the costs of replacing or repairing those items that are covered. Another negotiable item on the contract are inclusions and exclusions. Some examples of inclusions would be like, well, for example, in Oklahoma, the washer, dryers, and refrigerators in homes don't automatically come with the home when you purchase it. So you can always negotiate a refrigerator or a washer and dryer into the contract. You could also include things like for example, if the seller has a shed in the backyard and they're not necessarily leaving that, you can negotiate that into the contract. Or if there's a play set that you like and you have kids and you're like, we want to keep the play set, you can ask for that as well. And as far as exclusions are concerned, one of the things I see a lot is there's a hot tub out on the back patio, and I have buyers that are like, we do not want the hot tub, so take that away. And so you can negotiate the seller to take that out of the home. Another item for negotiation, you can ask the seller to pay for all or a portion of your closing costs. Your closing costs can include things like your insurance, your taxes, your title fees, your lender fees. You can even ask them to buy down points for you. Now, keep in mind if you ask for closing costs, which is a large sum of money oftentimes, then you are reducing the seller's bottom line. And if you're in a multiple offer situation, that can cause you not to get an offer in some cases. So just keep that in mind. It's best always to be able to cover it yourself if you can, but financially, if you can't, or if you just want them to pay some of those closing costs so you don't have to bring as much money to closing, then that's something you can always ask for. Another thing that you can ask the seller to pay for is your buyer's agent's commission. These days, most sellers are agreeing to pay for that commission. You can ask them to pay all of it or part of it or none of it. It is a negotiable item. So just to summarize, some things you can negotiate on the contract include price, closing date, earnest money, have the seller to buy a home warranty, inclusions or exclusions on the contract, and you can ask the seller to pay for your closing costs and your buyer's agent's commission. If you have questions about things you can negotiate on a contract, please be sure and comment below, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
If you like what you learned, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sherry Sells Homes with no spaces, and my Facebook page, Sherry Methvin Sells Homes with spaces. Next, we'll be exploring the ins and outs of earnest money. See you then.